Okay, in the last video we looked at all the different task types for IELTS writing, both task 1 and task 2. When we were looking at task 1, we looked at data type questions, and within that category, one of the types of question you might be asked about are tables. Now, for task 2 and for task 1, one of the most important things you can do is take time before you start writing to analyze the question you've been given and prepare what you want to say. This video is all about how you look at a table, what you need to look for, and what you need to understand and have ready before you start writing. This is about analyzing and preparing for IELTS writing task 1 tables. Okay. So this table gives data on different types of website used by different categories of students. So the horizontal axis shows different types of students, starting with the oldest, postgraduate, to the youngest, pre-nursery. So just a short explanation of this. Postgraduate students are students who have already finished one degree at university and have returned to university to do a master's or a PhD. Undergraduate students are doing their first degree at university. Most students will go on to undergraduate studies after leaving us here at Abbey College. College students are what we are, studying A-levels or foundation programs in preparation for university. In the UK, most college students will have come, before that, will have come from secondary school. This is where you do GCSEs. Before that, primary school. Before that, nursery. This is for children under the age of 5. And in many cases, even pre-nursery parents can send their children to pre-nursery, which would be from the age of 3 years old. So, along the vertical axis, we have different types of website. The horizontal axis has different types of students, and the data shows the number of hours spent on each type of website by each type of student. What do you need to have ready before you start writing? What do you need to look for when you analyze a table? Well, for a table, it's the same as any other kind of IELTS Task 1. You're looking for some kind of overview, and you're looking for 3 key features. So, the overview. What is the overall pattern? This is not the biggest or the smallest number. It needs to be a simple statement, and it needs to refer to all of the data. A simple statement about all of the data. Once you're clear on the overview, you need to find 3 important things that you want to mention. 3 what we call key features. You can look for patterns within the data. You might also mention unusually high or low numbers within the data, particularly if they say something about the other numbers on the table. And why 3 key features? Well, 3 key features because in your writing, you're going to write 3 paragraphs. One paragraph will be an introduction, which means all of your key features will be reported in 2 paragraphs. This gives you an opportunity to compare, because when you choose which of your 3 key features you will report together, you will say something about the relationship between them. A reminder of the question in IELTS Writing Task 1, they will ask you to select and report the main features and make comparisons where necessary. By choosing 3 key features and reporting them in 2 paragraphs, you are thinking about comparison because you are choosing why you should report 2 key features together. Okay, so how do you find the overview and how do you find the three key features? Well, when you look at a table in IELTS, there will almost always be one axis which demonstrates time, the passing of time, or some kind of progress. If we look at our table here, the vertical axis simply has a number of internet site types. There's no real relationship between them. But the horizontal axis does demonstrate a, a progress from the oldest postgraduate students down to the youngest types of students. When you identify which axis shows progress or the passage of time, follow the numbers along that axis and try to identify the pattern. This is usually pretty simple. Learning sites, older students use them a lot, younger students use them a lot, and secondary and college students use them the least. So, as students get younger, the use of these sites dips, but then rises again. Social networking sites demonstrate the opposite pattern. Older students and younger students use them much less than college, primary, and secondary students. So the pattern rises, then falls as the students get younger. Shopping sites fall dramatically as students get younger. This is hardly surprising. Entertainment and streaming sites follow a similar pattern to social networking sites. They rise and then fall, although pre-nursery students use these a lot as well. Supermarket sites follow a similar pattern to shopping sites. Use of these websites falls dramatically as students get younger. Other sites follow a similar pattern to learning sites. So, by identifying which axis represents the passage of time or some kind of progress, you can easily follow that axis and see the pattern in the numbers. Now it's easier to identify your overview and your three key features. Well, what is the overview here? Well, the overview can be as simple as there is no obvious pattern. There is a lot of difference in different sites according to age of students. Key features. When you look at the patterns by following the horizontal axis here, you can start to see a pattern. Shopping and supermarket sites both fall. Learning and other sites, use of these sites falls and then rises. Use of social networking and entertainment sites rises, then falls as students get younger. Social networking, entertainment sites. The fact that pre-nursery students use these types of sites more can be mentioned, but overall the arc fits into the same pattern or a similar pattern as social networking sites. Okay, we've got three key features. We're going to need to report two of these key features together in the same paragraph. By looking at the patterns they follow, the most obvious way to do this in this table is to report the two patterns which are opposite to each other. Learning and other sites fall and then rise. Social networking and entertainment sites rise and then fall. So when I start writing, I'm going to write one full paragraph about shopping and supermarket sites, and then one paragraph about learning and other sites, and social networking and entertainment sites. I've chosen to do this because these two patterns are opposite to each other. Equally, you might find in data that two of your key features are similar, follow a similar pattern. in which case you might want to report these together in the same paragraph. So, before you start writing, you need to look at the data, you need to identify an overview, 3 key features, and 2 features which you will report together. I'll now to look at this task. It's a very simple table. There are only 4 rows and 4 columns. Take some time now to look at the data and see if you can identify an overview, 3 key features, 2 of which you'll report together. Pause the video now, and when you're ready, play the video again, and I will talk about how I would analyze this data. Okay, there is a pattern here in the overview. You can see that all the first 3 categories, the numbers fall consistently. The last category, the numbers rise. So the overview, the statement, which is a simple statement about all of the data, is now there are more students attending community schools and fewer students attending other kinds of schools. But what about the key features? I've identified specialist schools. Use of these schools has fallen slightly, although it's not a dramatic change over the last 9 years. Grammar schools, voluntary controlled schools, attendance at these schools has fallen dramatically. Community schools is the only category where attendance has risen, also dramatically. I've got 3 key features, and I want to put 2 of these key features together. Here, I'm going to do similarly to what I looked at with the previous slide. The 2 patterns which are opposite each other, a dramatic fall and a dramatic rise, are the easiest to report in the same paragraph, and by doing that, I'm showing the examiner that I've thought about the relationship between my key features, not simply stating what the key features are. In the next video, I'll show you how, once you've decided what your overview and 3 key features are, you can write this into a structured 3-paragraph summary of a table in the IELTS Task 1.